Let's also thank the many spouses in the audience. We know that you provide invaluable support to our fighting men and women. There is one wife, however, who does nothing but confuse her poor husband. You felt sorry for him during last year's show, and I'm sure this year will be no exception. Back by popular demand are Barrett and Lindsay as George Burns and Gracie Allen. Let's hear it for them.
Well, Gracie, here we are again at the National Guard Armory in Edmond.
I'm so glad to be in Edmond again. Wonderful, wonderful Edmond. No wonder it's called the City of Brotherly Love.
No, you're thinking of Philadelphia.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful Edmond. No wonder they call it the Eternal City.
That's wrong.
The Motor City?
Detroit.
The Windy City.
Chicago, but we're getting closer. You see, Chicago, the winds come from Lake Michigan. Here in Oklahoma, the winds come from the sweeping down the plain.
The plain what?
The prairie, the plain.
George Burns, how dare you call Edmond plain?
Gracie, I'm simply describing the landscape of central Oklahoma.
Well, I think Edmond is exciting, not plain. Where else can you see the first teaching college in Oklahoma Territory? Edmond. Where else can you turn a corner on Route 66? Edmond. Where else can you see lots of grass?
The grassland, that's what's called the plain. But, speaking of plains, Gracie, I hear the military is recruiting Edmond folks to help in the war effort by making miniature planes.
Don't be ridiculous. How are more grasslands going to help the war?
Gracie, I'm not talking about the planes anymore. I'm talking about the planes, airplanes, paper airplanes.
They're making airplanes out of paper now, huh? The government must be really short on metal.
Gracie, I'm talking about models.
Models? There you go, George Burns. We're having a perfectly sensible conversation about airplanes, and you start talking about beautiful women.
No, I'm not talking about... I'm talking about model airplanes made by high schoolers.
High schoolers, huh? The government must be really short on adults.
No, Gracie, this is a safe way for teenagers to help with the war effort. The Navy, U.S. Department of Education, they've asked Edmond High School and their students to make thousands of model airplanes from templates that look like Allied and enemy warplanes.
Why?
Well, so military men and civilians can practice identifying the planes.
Why?
Well, let's say an airplane flies above us. You look up, and you can tell what kind of plane it is by the shape or the color of its markings.
Oh, what fun! Quick, George, give me the phone. I'm calling the Atterberries, inviting them over right away.
Why?
Because just the other day, Blanche said, Gracie, I'm tired of playing bridge. We need a new game. So I'll call her and let her know that instead of playing bridge, we'll play airplane.
Gracie, it's not that kind of a game.
Oh, this will be so fun. I'll invite some high school kids over to make some model airplanes for us. And let's see, we could also invite the nice Central State soldiers who are training to be pilots.
Gracie, this is starting to sound like a party.
Oh, yes, George, a big party is just what we need. And we should invite some of the college girls over too. Keep the soldiers company. So I need to come up with food for about a couple dozen people.
Gracie! We can't afford to feed all these people. We only have rationing stamps to feed the two of us. You and me. You can't just run to the store and buy steak for 24 people these days.
Oh, George, not real steak. Emergency steak. Just this morning, I was listening to the Betty Crocker Show on the radio, and she gave directions on how to make emergency steak. It just takes 1 pound of hamburger meat, some milk, some salt and pepper, and here is the magic ingredient. 1 cup of cornflakes.
Cornflakes.
Cornflakes. You mix it up and pat it into the shape of a T-bone steak. You broil it and it comes out just as tender and tasty as any tenderloin.
You've got to be kidding.
That's what Betty Crocker said. And she said everyone's just crazy about emergency steak.
Crazy's the right word.
Oh, wait. I forgot one of the most important steps.
Oh, good.
It has to be garnished with parsley.
Well, now I feel better, Gracie. Believe me, this is not a T-bone steak. It's poorly disguised meatloaf.
It is not. It's delicious. As delicious as the steak we had on our honeymoon.
That was the best I could afford at the time. Anyway, how do you know this emergency steak is delicious? You've never even made it. You hardly even cook.
I've tasted it in my mind, and it is delicious.
Okay, Gracie, I'm game. I'll pull out the barbecue grill, you buy the cornflakes, and ask everybody to bring their own hamburger meat to the party. But that's not enough to make a meal.
Oh, we're going to make fluffy homemade biscuits, too.
Biscuits.
Biscuits. Edmond is home to the Rodkey flour mill, you know. I'll just run over to Catherine Rodkey's house and ask if I can borrow a cup of flour.
A cup? For 24 people?
Well, we'd better make that a pound.
You're going to borrow a pound of flour.
Oh, don't worry. Catherine will be thrilled. She's always going around town encouraging us to cook with Rodkey flour. I'll just tell her that, thanks to her, I'm very encouraged. All she has to do is loan me a pound of flour.
I see.
Did you know that Catherine's son, Earl Rodkey, pushed a cow up the steps of the Old North Tower?
That's impossible.
I know it is, but he did it. And if Catherine Rodkey can bear the shame of hearing about that prank her whole life, you can see why Catherine will be happy to give me a pound of flour.
I'm sure she's hoping everyone will forget that story.
Oh, George, these biscuits are going to be so delicious.
Well, I do love a good biscuit with melted butter.
Oh, no, George. I just read in the Edmond newspaper that butter usage has been reduced.
How much?
It was 2 ounces a day, but now it's only 1.12 ounces a day.
Well, that doesn't sound like much. How do you measure 1.12 ounces?
Oh, it's easy, George. 1.12 ounces comes out to 1/12 of a cup.
Oh, that explains it. But Gracie, how do you measure 1/12 of a cup?
I'm not sure, but if we are having 24 people at our party, 12 of them can divide 1 cup of flour, and the other 12 can divide the other cup of butter, and so it's really quite simple.
Simple, yes. I can see those high school college students politely doing the math as their biscuits get cold.
Yes.
So, for this party, we're having emergency steak and Rodkey biscuits with hardly any butter.
And mung beans.
Mung beans? What are mung beans?
Oh, George, mung beans are sprouts. They're used in chop suey, of course. Instead of importing them from China, American farmers have found that they will grow well here in Oklahoma.
Well, how do you know this?
All the Edmond farmers were talking about it down at the Farmer's Grain. They had a terrible time since the summer flood of 1943. The rain wiped out all the crops in all the victory gardens.
That is a shame, with food being at a premium.
Oh, I know, it's terrible. But we have to keep feeding the soldiers, so farmers are waiting for the ground to dry out so they can plant some quick-growing crops.
Well, what crops can they grow this late in the season besides mung beans, of course?
What crops? The 4 Ps, of course.
Just 4 peas, huh? That's not going to go very far.
Not 4 Ps. The 4 P crops. Peanuts, pumpkins, peppers, and peas.
Well, those sound better than mung beans.
No, George. We are having mung beans at our party.
So, for this party, we are having emergency steak, Rodkey biscuits with 1/12 a cup of butter and mung beans.
And persimmons.
And persimmons? I say we've added another pea.
Persimmons just fall off the trees here in Oklahoma. See, George, it won't cost us a cent.
If you could find a persimmon tree.
Oh, I'll find one. Did you know, George, that the Native Americans used to mix the pulp of persimmons with crushed corn to make bread?
How do you know all this?
Because the girls and I went to the movies.
You learned about persimmons at the movies.
Of course. The Bronco Theater showed a wartime documentary about food production and how to can fruits and vegetables.
That sounds stirring.
Oh, it was. and the man at the Farmer's Grain said we just had to see it. And while I was there, Mr. Patzak from the C.R. Anthony Farm brought in the biggest cucumber you ever saw.
How big?
Almost 2.5 pounds.
2.5 pounds? That would make a lot of pickles.
That's exactly what I said. Mr. Patzak said that he'd be able to make 1,231 pickles out of that one cucumber.
1,231 pickles.
Of course, 1/4 of those would have to go be canned and sent over to the soldiers. That's the new rule.
Yes. Peanuts, pumpkins, peppers, peas, persimmons, and pickles. Well, people here in Edmond sure know how to eat.
Oh, you bet. Let's add pickles to our party menu.
Okay, Gracie, but what I'd really like is the most important pea of all.
What's that?
Prime rib.
George, don't be silly. You know meat just got rationed in March. Prime rib would use up your entire meat rations for 2 weeks. But instead, I could get you 7 nice cans of Spam.
Spam. I can't take any more Spam, Gracie. You give it to me fried, boiled, relished, baked in casseroles, shredded in green beans,
Soaked in fruit cocktail
soaked in
juice.
fruit cocktail sauce,
Jellied in the center of your jelly.
jellied in this. Wow! Why are you telling me that I've eaten Spam for dessert? You've gone too far.
See, George? I told you you should have come with me to Mrs. Wolf's lecture on the secrets for wartime cooking over at the Edmond High School. Then you'd have known not to eat that jelly roll.
Well, I thought it was a little salty.
Now that we've thoroughly discussed Spam, let's get back to the party planning. Where were we? Oh, yes. Persimmons.
Persimmons, yes. Just why are we including persimmons on the party menu?
Because they are native Oklahoma fruits that can be used in all kinds of foods. Puddings, pies,
More
pastas,
pea words.
and tarts.
Now, that's what I like. That sounds more like it. Every time I've tried a persimmon, it's usually been so bitter it made my mouth draw up.
That's because it wasn't ripe.
I know that.
You have to wait until it's perfectly ripe, and then it tastes like tangy caramel with a hint of nutmeg.
Well, that's not been my experience.
That's because you ate it before it was mushy enough, so it was still astringent.
Oh, okay, Gracie. You've become an expert on persimmons.
Yes. And I saw the most wonderful recipe in the Edmond Sun for upside-down meat and persimmon pie.
Meat and persimmon pie. That sounds terrible.
Doesn't it? It calls for hamburger meat, onion, celery, persimmons, and tomato soup. Or was it ketchup?
I wish you hadn't told me. I would rather have the Spam.
Spam and persimmon pie?
Now I'm putting my foot down.
Oh, well, the crust is made from Rodkey flour, so I'm sure it will be good.
Grace.
All right, George. But don't be surprised if I sneak persimmon pulp into your cornbread.
Now, believe me, I'm never eating cornbread ever again. Was that one of the secrets of wartime cooking?
Yes.
Okay, Gracie, I've had enough. Now, can we just get back to the party?
Oh, George, it's going to be the best party. I just know it will cheer everyone up. And that's what we're supposed to be doing for the war effort, cheering everyone up.
I'm not sure this menu is going to cheer anyone up.
Now, George Burns, don't say things like that. Of course it will cheer everyone up.
I think they'd be more encouraged if you didn't feed them mung beans.
Stop that. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. I need to get the invitation list together. And then I'll have to decide what to wear.
Very important.
George, you know the president said that American women should keep up their appearances during the war so that the men feel encouraged.
But I feel encouraged.
Good. And now I'm going to give you the chance to encourage me.
You are.
Yes. And I'd be very encouraged if I got a new hairdo.
Oh, here we go again with a new hairdo business.
You know I've used up my clothing rations on that new hat, so all that's left to do is get a new hairdo.
No, you do not need a new hairdo. You just got one last month.
No go, huh? Well, then you'll just have to get me some new stockings.
Stockings, all nylon. That's going to make parachutes for the war.
Haven't you heard about the new cotton stockings?
No.
Oh. According to the War Board, we women can wear cotton stockings as long as they don't have more than 16 stitches per inch, they can't have lace bands, and they can't be longer than 30 inches, which is not a problem because I have short legs.
All right, Gracie. You can get some new cotton stockings for the party. Are you encouraged now?
Oh, yes, George. You're the most wonderful husband. How about a new dress?
Don't push your luck.
Okay, George, now let's see. Our party menu is emergency steak, Rodkey biscuits, mung beans, pickles, and persimmons.
So all you have to do is notify the guests to bring their own meat, buy cornflakes, borrow a pound of flour from Mrs. Rodkey, measure out 1.12 ounces of butter times, buy some pickles, wait for a farmer's field to dry out so they can plant mung beans, and then find a ripe persimmon tree.
That's it?
That's it. Of course, then you have to prepare everything.
Prepare everything, huh? Oh, George, I have the most wonderful idea. Let's call up the Atterberries and see if they'd like to just have a nice, quiet dinner at the Royce Cafe, and then we can go home and play a hand of bridge.
I thought so.
Oh, George, aren't we lucky to be here in Edmond?
Sure.
Wonderful, wonderful Edmond, where they have windy plains and paper planes.
Peas and pumpkins and pickles and persimmons.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful Edmond. No wonder they call it the city of Edmond.
That's right. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.